Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the I, Walter Show.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Michael Zapsik. I'm from AMC's Comic Book Men, and you're listening to I, Walter.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's I, Walter. I, Walter. Yes, it's I, Walter. Strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. I, Walter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of I, Walter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter on March 7th, 2016. Yeah, I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight than I normally do. I got this segment that's about 6 or so minutes long. I actually did edit it just now. I've been editing it for the past hour or so. I got different clips from this guy named Milo. I can't say his last name. Maybe people know who he is. I'm going to try to keep it very vague right now until you listen to the sound clips. So I literally had taken 2 interviews. One was actually an hour and change long on some radio show this guy was on. The other one is from this 12-minute interview. Now, the one that was an hour only had taken maybe a few seconds here and a few seconds there. No more than like 2 minutes. The other one, actually, the 12-minute one, I had taken about 5 minutes from. So altogether, you're talking about 6 minutes long. It's maybe not going to make sense. I think it does for the most part, because actually what I did was I just had taken bits and pieces of different parts of these clips. I'm going to edit it in now, and then I'll be back on the air and see what I want to talk about tonight. But this guy actually talks about everything I mentioned, and it just gets unheard of, or it gets ignored. So there's that, and then I want to go into, hopefully, I got some stories I'll just kind of glance through tonight, because that's going to take up, a good 6 minutes of my show, just playing this sound bites that I edited together of this guy Milo. I can't say his last name, but I actually incorporated that. That's what got me started on trying to, thinking about doing this, is the pronunciation of this guy's last name. Also, I have to talk about one of the things I want to talk about mainly, and probably in some detail, was that somebody who friended me on Facebook apparently was trying to get all my social media sites shut down. They started to do attacks with me on YouTube of get me in trouble, and I complained about that. And I think the final straw was that they successfully had me banned from Facebook for 24 hours. They literally got me knocked off. And they're just whittling away at all my social media accounts, which is not cool, because this is where most of the people that listen to me on my podcast, they listen to me through social media. And this person has been chipping away on trying to destroy me. So I'll talk about that. Let me just play this by this guy Milo. You will hear his last name. I have to thank my friend Matt. He was the one who introduced me to this guy. So listening to him. His stuff is posted on YouTube, and you'll be able to hear his last name correctly, because I don't think I'm not going to even take a gander out trying to do it. So here we go right now.
Quite a few people excited about our guest tonight. He is a journalist. He's a speaker. He's the enemy of feminists everywhere. Milo Yiannopoulos, a.k.a. Nero on Twitter, is here.
It took a gay man, it took a homo, to speak honestly about gender issues when no other man felt he was able. And feminists are always going on about silencing. Well, no woman is ever silenced in the public square for any opinion she holds, but men are. Men can lose their jobs if they say the wrong thing about the wage gap. Men can lose their jobs if they say the wrong thing about campus rape culture. That's silencing.
Don't they have a right to be angry, though? I mean,
about what?
As the other.
About what?
You think
women are an oppressed class in America today?
That women don't make equal money as men, often,
the wage
often
gap's
in
a
the
myth.
same job.
The wage gap is a myth.
Is that a myth? I mean,
of course it's a myth.
We hear about this all the time.
Yeah, of course it's a myth. It's one of those feminist myths that won't die. Right. Basically, if you take all of the earnings of men and all of the earnings of women and you do a simple bit of maths, then you'll get something like a 77, right? What this doesn't take into account is the different choices that women make. It doesn't take into account a variety of factors. No reputable economist takes the wage gap seriously. Where the stuff comes from just this week. For Slut Walk I was kicked out of. Journalists for Time magazine reported that 15,000 people had come out in support of this Slut Walk. I was there. It was maybe 250. Mm-hmm. She blathered. She started to sort of blame other people, and eventually they changed it to thousands, but it was still wrong. This sort of sloppy ideological reporting, and I'm sorry to say that the most brazen untruths always come from the left, just like most of the major plagiarism scandals come from the left, because they believe in narrative over fact. This is how Rolling Stone happened. The fake rape in Rolling Stone. It's how Duke Lacrosse happens. It's how all of these things happen because these liberal journalists believe that even if this one's not true, it's a really important thing for us to talk. Whether it's 3, 4, or 5 women. 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 5 women are going to get sexually assaulted on campus, which is just nonsense. Whether it's the wage gap, which is nonsense. These things become established as part of they become almost folkloric, and right up to the president. I mean, Obama repeats some of these statistics, but they're not true. None of this stuff stacks up. So if you're trying to make the case that women have a right to be angry, that they should be angry because women have all of these injustices, well, I ask you, what are these injustices? And every single one that's given by feminists, every example that's given by feminists does not stand up to scrutiny. Women are not an oppressed class in the West. There is no rape culture in the West. We don't celebrate rapists, we put them in prison. Women don't earn less than men for the same work. That's illegal. It is true that, because women are mothers, there are consequences when you get into the workplace on that. But a woman is paid the same work as a man. So when you say there's confusion between wages and earnings. When you say 70 cents to the dollar, what women hear is, well, I'm going to get paid 77 cents for a man's pound. No woman has that experience. It doesn't happen. There are some women who work part-time because they have children. Well, they have children. What do you expect?
Right.
The important thing is that we make sure that when women come back to work after they have children, that they're not disadvantaged for that. Now, where that's happening, that's wrong. But it is not a problem on the scale of what Sam Harris and Majid will talk about, happening to women in the Middle East.
Right.
And feminists will never talk to you about this difficult stuff because they don't want to be put in the difficult position of having to rank Islam versus women, white male, or just being a white man. That somehow that gives you privileged access to certain institutions, that you are somehow problematic. That's not the experience of young men today who go through university and are 1 in 7 of them, who put on Ritalin or Adderall because they are held up to female behaviour standards. It's not the experience of boys.
Well, I don't know if there's a direct connection between the medication and the.
Well, of course there is. Of course there is. Behaviour, not beauty standards. Behaviour standards. Of course there is. Because
behaviour standards. Okay.
Behaviour has. I meant behaviour. Behaviour standards. And we're not just doing that, but we're also changing the way that exams are marked to make them easier for women, because women don't test well in exams. So boys are struggling. Boys are falling behind. And this is not a controversial thing. Everybody knows this. Boys are falling horribly behind girls in education. Fewer men are going to university. More women graduate. Women get higher grades. In the workplace, for example, a Cornell study from 2015 showed that women have a 2-to-1 advantage going for the same job just because everybody is desperate to hire women. The experiences of men growing up now do not reflect these horrible headlines about straight white men. And frankly, I think progressives have got themselves into a really weird corner. They don't seem to appreciate the irony of criticising somebody for their skin colour and their orientation, but they do it anyway. This all comes from this sort of discredited leftist idea that gender is socially constructed. And if gender is socially constructed, right, if you're taught to be a boy or taught to be a girl, rather than having a lot of that behaviour genetic, a lot of behaviour sort of encoded in you, if you like, as a virtue, by virtue of your chromosomes. If gender is a performance and it's a social construct, there's no reason why girls can't behave like boys and boys can't behave like girls. Now, we're beginning to start to see that fall apart now. One of the ways in which it falls apart is the transgender debate. We know now progressives are telling us that people can be born with the wrong brain. If you could be born with a female brain, there must be such a thing as a female brain. So surely, femininity can't be a social construct. Make your bloody minds up.
One of the things that drove me crazy on this was that, everybody was saying that, or most sane people, I think, were saying that obviously Rachel Dolezal tall as Al, couldn't choose to be black. She was white, and she pretended
This
to be
is
black, but
another.
she couldn't choose
She
it.
was created by progressives who said that blackness was a performance, that you could, that blackness was a social construct, that race was race is a social construct. Of course, it isn't. We know now because we have the computer processing power to do it. We know that when we look at the genome, that there are clusters of information that map onto certain geographies. In that statistical sense, we know now that race is real, and we know from. Ordinary people know from the common sense of our eyes and our ears. We know that people look different and behave differently. We know that stuff. But progressives, for a variety of balmy reasons best known to themselves, have been claiming that gender and race are social constructs. All this stuff is starting to fall apart now. The transgender debate's very interesting and very dangerous for progressives, and they haven't yet dealt with this. If you can be born with the wrong brain, if you can be born a man with a woman's brain, that means there's such a thing as a woman's brain, right? So what transgender patients will do is they start hacking away at themselves to make them, anatomically more like women. So they're, somewhere between the two genders by the end of it, right? They're not functioning women, but they look a bit more like women. And some of their, some things work a bit more like women. And they have the appearance of women, and they say they have a woman's brain. If you can have a woman's brain, there is such a thing as a woman's brain. It means there's a biological basis for certain behavioral differences.
All right. Hey, this is Walter. I'm back. I hope you liked that from this guy named Milo. Again, I need to thank my friend Matt for that. So thank you so much, Matt, for introducing me to this guy named Milo, which I can't even pronounce his last name, so I apologize. So as I said, I'm going to look through as I'm, doing my show tonight. I'm going to just look for articles. And yeah, that really upset me, though, because this particular guy, person, guy or woman, I'm not going to even mention it. They friended me a while back, or asked me for a friend's request, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I think I actually met this person, or this person found me. Believe it or not, I think when I added Patty Mullen, I think that's where this person might have came from. I don't know. So I'll leave it at that. And it was like, okay, that's cool. Hey, somebody who is friends with somebody else that I really admire, I don't have a problem with it. But since I had added this particular I'm making it past tense, believe it or not doing a very good job. I got to the point that I had to finally report these people or this person and also complain in addition to them for harassment. And in two ways. One way was directly. I think, because my suspicions seem by what I've asked other people, it seems like I probably was not, I'm trying to even think of the right word, that I was right on the nose with, right on the money with this one. So, and another point is like, okay, if I'm making the speculations on the wrong person, I can get myself in just as much trouble as anybody else can. So, but they went out of their way, and it happened right after I added them, though, because I've been on Facebook, I would say, for quite a few years now. I don't know how long at this point. I'd assume. Now, it can't be that long. I would say, since I was in Cabrini College, but I graduated Cabrini back in 2001, so maybe it was. Maybe I've been on Facebook for about 10 years. I don't know, and I've never had an issue, and I always put up, horror stories. I'm into horror movies, these violent horror movies and stuff. And most of the stuff, 99% of the stuff I have on Facebook, and even my friends that I've had in the past, are all horror-related people for years. And it's never been an issue. And I also, I put up this, to spice up things. I added people to an extent. I knew to get rid of a lot of them, but to an extent, I actually added a lot of these people that were into these, I don't want to say porn fetishes, but more like these other spandex fetishes and these other goofy things. And just these women who, because I'm not into that, because this one woman I have, Willow Rain, she's really into tattoos, and she likes showing off her body and other women's bodies. Like, she likes to show off a lot of TNA and on herself and other people. And it's like, I think it's funny. So I put it up just to spice up the pages. And a lot of the guys I have as friends, they think it's really funny, and they actually enjoy the pictures. They make kind of comments about it. So, hey, it's for pure entertainment. Now, there's stories lately that I've been doing that are more political because, that's always what my, goes on in my shows. But in addition to it, it's just because that's right around the corner at this point. So once I added this one person, now, all of a sudden, I had brutal attacks on my YouTube page where I was getting notices from YouTube themselves saying, listen, you have copyrighted material on your page, and some of the stuff was getting noted that goes back like 5 or 6 years, maybe 10 years of stuff I had up years ago. And all of a sudden it became an issue. Oh, this is copyrighted material. Nobody ever made a comment before. The only reason it was brought to YouTube's attention was because somebody brought it to their attention, basically. And it's funny because that is where I haven't put anything on YouTube as far as videos go for quite a few years now. I would say the past 2 years, at least the past year. Because the last thing I did was Penhurst, and then I try to do independent videos because I have all this camera equipment now that is just basically collecting dust. I mean, I love making little short films and videos, even though as bad as they are. But it is very time-consuming because you have to do a lot of pre-production work. You have to write. If you want to do it right, you really want to write a script. You want to do some storyboarding, and you want to lay out, location shots. So, I mean, as simple as my videos look, that's what's involved in almost every video I do. I don't have time for all that. I do have time for it. I don't have the patience for it anymore. So I love doing it, though. The podcast, I didn't think it was going to last as long as it has. The podcast, actually, I've been doing it almost every day, at least 3 times a week for the past 8 months, I would say. I don't know. I'm going to take a guess on that, a gander. And I've been sticking with that just for the sole purpose. I got to keep something to keep my mind going. And I don't mind doing this, but it never has been an issue up until the past few months when I added this one particular person. So that's when I started getting flags on my Facebook and my YouTube page. Nothing on Twitter. So I don't think this person's affiliated with Twitter. But they've gotten really vicious where I've actually had flagged and trying to tear down old videos that have been up forever. And YouTube, I can kind of guess. I'm going to look at my YouTube page if I can. They were actually saying, okay, well, it's never been an issue before. Now, all of a sudden, somebody, I guess, apparently flagged it. Again, I kind of have a suspicion who it is. They're scratching their heads. It's like, listen, it's not been a problem, but people are complaining that that apparently these people have been approaching from music material I've been using. It's become a big issue. And it's like, that's ridiculous because most of this stuff is like that free music you get online. Because I've after making videos, you learn really quickly. There's, I was been told, YouTube will tell you, here's places you can get open source or basically non-licensed music to use. Well, this idiot who keeps on trying to take down my YouTube page and my Facebook page, they actually went as far as trying to report the free music I got. I mean, that's just like, okay, you're really, really kind of stretching it, aren't you? I mean, and YouTube just to keep the peace will amuse that person and basically give me a slap on the wrist, and they're saying, listen, we're just going to put commercials around that these videos that you're getting complaints on the music that was copyrighted, and now the artists are approaching me that they're not appreciative of me using their material. Now, that happened years ago. Not that I got in trouble for it, but this is funny. It reminds me. This is no joke. I actually used in the background on my radio. Apparently, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to play it on your car radio. Or, on a radio, if you're not actually using, because then it's considered accidental that it's in the background. Then you don't have that much of a problem. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it. But this is something that did not get me in trouble. Actually, I got a comment from the artists themselves. And it was on a video I did where I like this one chick. I can't remember her name. She's some artist from California where she got this massive makeover on plastic surgery on her body. She got like these big, at the present time, it happened years ago now. She got massively big implants put in her body, and like the whole 9 yards of exploding lips and everything else. She was a good entertainer. She was a pop artist. And there was one song on the radio I really liked from her. I think it was like something Montag, or no, it wasn't her. I can't remember her name. So I had a song of hers I really liked. It stuck on my head. That's when I used to listen to the pop radio. I don't really listen to any radio anymore when I can get the music and commercial free. So I put her piece of music on my car radio in the car I had at the time, playing on the radio. It was just a little skit I did, I think. And I put her music in the background. She got wind of it, I guess, somehow. It popped up that I had her music, even though it was on the radio in my car for when I shot the video, that she got wind of it, and she actually appreciated it. She said, oh, I really like that song. And it was from her, this artist, which I can't remember her name, the musician. So she didn't make a big deal of it. She thought it was pretty funny. She liked the fact that of all the people I could pick for this background music on the audio source, not actually as an audio track, but actually, as the background music, playing it live, so to speak, on my radio in my car for this skit I did on YouTube. She thought it was funny. So most of the people I've encountered that I used her, if I do use their music, it's never been on a negative sense. And I remember for something I did, a skit I did, the person I used their music from, their soundtrack, the artist, was actually my one boss at my job, where he has a side band. And I said, listen, can I use your music? He says, I don't care what you do with it. You can use it. You can use everything of mine. I don't care. He said, I don't have, I literally went to the artist and I asked him, can I use your music? He said, yeah, it's no problem. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to stop you from using my music. I was like, cool. So, of course, if this same person would have attacked me on that, I'll say, listen, I know this guy. He's my boss, and he told me it was okay. Now, all of a sudden, it's an issue because of you, and I know it is. And I would at that time, if it would have went that far, but I stopped it. I had to, because they were pulling my stuff off. Well, YouTube did not pull a damn thing. YouTube just gave me a flags up that somebody's been complaining about that you're using your copyrighted music, which was basically a bunch of BS. It was not true, because it wasn't the artist actually complain about it. It was literally this one person. So when they failed to take my YouTube page down, now the YouTube page I've had for about 20 years, maybe longer. I don't know. Maybe less. But they failed at that. So their attacks now brutally started coming, which I mentioned this other day. They came from, I might be repeating myself on most of this stuff because I think I did mention this the other day. My main thing was about Milo. So anyway, yeah, they successfully, and I was really pissed off. I was shut down for 24 hours, my Facebook page. And they said, well, you made 2 violations. I mentioned this again the other day. One of the both violations were things that I were repost from somebody else's webpage, Facebook things. And from these 2 separate sources, the original sources of both these pages weren't even a shutdown. The pictures still exist right now on their web blogs. I was the only one who got violated for offensive material, even though it was on somebody else's Facebook page. So, again, I made sure to complain about the person who complains about me all the time and has been trying to get everything shut down on mine. That's why I also played that Milo thing. I just want to make clear that it's a double standard on how the victimized victims are the ones that are the people that are doing the most offensive things are the offenders. So if you heard that whole segment, that 6-minute segment of Milo, you would see that I'm not just talking out of my ass, that I actually do know what I'm talking about. And by the way, if you haven't caught wind of it, that guy Milo is homosexual, and I made sure not to put that in there because I would get some brutal attack on that, not from him, but from the left, when he said in one segment of one of the 2 interviews that I kind of was going through, he says that I'm gay. I don't want to fuck any women. So, if women try to attack me and say that, it's like I have no interest in, quote unquote, Milo said this, I have no interest in fucking women. So, that just shoots their whole I'm a victim of men's men oppressing us as women, it's just shot right out the window. I mean, it's like far gone from the truth. So I that's just like extremely entertaining at this point. So anyway, this person again tried to shut me down, and I told you these links were from other people. And I wrote Facebook. I told you the other day, I wrote Facebook and I said, listen, this woman's saying she's offended by, or this person says I'm offended. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I really don't know. But they're offended by what I post, even though they're from shared posts from other people. And I mentioned this again, so I'm just going to say it again. Facebook actually wrote me back, and they said they actually did apologize to me about that. And by the way, right now I'm looking at like the amount of people I can see as far as friends. That's been drastically cut back to about 14 people that will allow me to see them in conversation. And honestly, I really don't care. I really don't care because my whole thing is I use this as a source, putting up my articles that I do find on my own. The ones I will read, I'm probably may do some tonight. But I only use Facebook as a place to, cut and paste my story so I can read them later on. It just makes it easy. Because you can actually see the full article, you can see the pictures and everything else. You can't do all that on Twitter. So, and my friend told me that Twitter is not much better on attacking the people who try to think, from the oppressors, who are these women, feminazis, and these leftists who will try to oppress you. They're also, he reminded me that they're also attack you on Twitter as well. Because that guy, Milo, who again is he's a homosexual out-of-the-closet male. He doesn't sound like one, and it doesn't really matter to me either way. But he's he's British, obviously. He's an ultra-conservative, and he got actually knocked off of Twitter for a while. Or at least he got attacked on Twitter. Sorry, I'm moving my mic. When I try to look for my Twitter page now, too. So, yeah, there is no safety. And the funny thing is, these people try to attack him, and that some of them really do try to attack this man on what he thinks, despite the fact that the man is a homosexual, and he has, what he says is like, these are the people that are supposed to be the repressed and all. Here you got an ultra-conservative who is a homosexual. And the man basically says everything that I'm not allowed to say. He says it, but he also gets attacked. So that's the other thing that was kind of funny. That's why I had to kind of mention that too. So I'm going to go back. I got my Twitter open in case something comes up of interest. Right now I don't have anything. So I just had to mention. And what's kind of funny today with these repressed women and stuff? It's funny. And I had to take pictures. Now, I'll get trouble, even though I did it from my own house, for stalking. But I saw twice today these women, and these are older women. One was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She was jogging in like a sports bra and a lycra shiny spandex. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, these are the same women that are going to go, if you're not who they want looking at them, which would mean a white male. They're going to automatically say, well, he was assaulting me, he was stalking me, almost like what Milo was saying, just to act like they've been oppressed. And it's like, well, you know what? You're the one, and it was twice today, actually. One was at 1:30 in the afternoon. So it's like, and it was a woman. It was a full-grown woman, not even not even a retired woman. She was too old. She was too young for that, but she was too old to be a teenager. So you can't tell me she was, she had a day off from work. Yeah, on Monday. Yeah, I believe that. She took the day off to go jogging. But the bottom line, and there was another one tonight. And, it's just like these women will do this stuff to draw attention to themselves. And again, if you're pretty much on the white male situation, they're going to automatically say, well, you're stalking me. You're harassing me. This is not fair. I find you offensive. Anything just to tear you down. Again, if you listen to that whole thing, because I made sure to get segments on how now if I remember correctly, on part of the segment I have that I cut, because I cut different clips, different segments, and I kind of put them together as a collage on that Milo gentleman. And he did even say nowadays men are at the point, these guys in college are being so repressed that they're being forced to, be put on medication to repress their I'm trying to even think of the right word. Because they're found to be too aggressive, basically. So they have to repress them by putting them on these heavy doses of medications, because they're found to be very aggressive and very forceful, and women find it very, very. They find it very. They feel very uncomfortable by this whole situation. And generally, he mentions the straight white male. He did in those things. That's why, wow, I was like, thank you, Matt, for again pointing that my way. Now, again, I'm going in different directions, but the whole thing was this person had my Facebook page shut down. They wrongfully accused me of things that were already posted from other people. I was just reposting them, and only strictly attacked me. So I got actually an apology email from Facebook over that whole situation, which still really pisses me off. So I did kind of gain some ground, because Facebook kind of got caught with their tail between their legs, because they automatically, okay, well, this guy's got too many strikes against him, me, this was the sole purpose of this person, was to get me shut down on Facebook, because they couldn't do it on YouTube. And by that happening, of them not doing it, now I'm sure they're going to try to go after my YouTube page again, since they failed at both, and definitely failed, because I made sure to get them in a lot of trouble on Facebook. Let me see again on YouTube, because I forget my password to sign in, so that's one problem. Actually, let me look at Google and log in. Because I can log into my Google account, my Googles, as my dad would say, and maybe take it from there. They changed Google a little bit. Let me put in Google Mail. See, that's the problem. I don't really use Gmail and everything, the Google account. So it actually makes it really difficult for me, and you need that. Generally, if you can log into your Google account. Okay, yeah, it's not taking my password now. Your password has changed 12 days ago. Didn't change your password. I didn't. Let's see. It said 12 days ago. All right, so I'm just going to put I forgot my password. So I'm going to put in my email account. My speculation is that this person, they could have even got into my account too. All right, let me get my cell phone and see if I can do it that way. I apologize to do all the stuff on the phone. I didn't change my password, because I think whoever's doing this stuff, this shenanigans, is just trying to get me destroyed. So let me see. Let me just do this real quick. I have to say something too. I said the other day, after I spilled Coke on my keyboard, my old keyboard. Let me put in my new password in. If I mess this up, I'll be fucked. Hopefully I did that right. Choose a password you haven't previously used. Hope that works. Alrighty. Yeah, I changed my password. Yeah, because they've been doing everything under the sun just to get me in trouble, these people. So, yeah, again, I was glad my friend... By the way, I have to... Matt, if you're listening to this, I just wanted to say it again. Congratulations. The man, I've been trying to do it. I haven't had no luck. Man has lost quite a bit of weight, my friend Matt. He looks actually really good. Matt, you look excellent. You look really good. Very handsome. So it's been a hard struggle for him. It's a hard struggle for any of us, guys. When we get past, the age of early 40s. I'm not going to say past 40s. I will be soon there. I'll be in my 50s. But, yeah, once you get past the age, you get past your 40s or towards your late 40s, your mid 40s, your metabolism just really slows down. So let me see if I can get into my YouTube account now. I'm trying this again. Let's see if I can do this. I just checking. So he's been on this really extremely strict diet, and it was like now he's gotten to the point that he's lost a good amount of weight. I won't say how much, but he lost a lot of weight. And I said to him, a pound of muscle weighs much more than a pound of fat. So he lost a good amount of weight, and it was like, dude, you look incredible. You look really, really good. Okay, yeah, everything on my YouTube page is still there. And here's my password, by the way, so that fuckhead can screw me up again and complain about that I am ripping people off. Yeah, I've said this before, and I said this to my friend Matt yesterday. Again, congratulations, Matt, on losing the weight you did. You look great. But this same shithead, again, he complained about some video I put up that I had broken violations. I'm seeing if it's still up. He might have actually gotten that somehow. No, he didn't. A friend did this video. I hope you don't mind that I mention it, because it is on YouTube. And it only got 14 views, but apparently somebody bitched and complained that I had broken copyright infringement laws on the music, which was owned by my friend. He made it on a 4-track. So, yeah. And I was really pissed. I had spoken about this before. Again, it's only gotten 14 views since I put it up 2 years ago now. Like, literally almost 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden it became a big issue. I didn't know if I put it up that long ago. So, and it was like, okay, this is not even music. This is sounds my friend made on a 4-track, and it was done back in 91, 92. So, it's been like over... Let's see, 1990 to 2000, 2020. So it's been almost 20 years. Something like that. I don't know. And this shithead tried to get me in trouble. And it was like, you know what, you're really you're brazen, or you're asking for to be majorly punched or whatever. I don't know. I'm being sarcastic, really. So I'm even looking at my one for the train station that I did, and that was actually 2 years ago also. And that's only gotten 87 views. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to take that down yet, too. Or this person, this guy or woman who's ever doing this. So anyway, as I'm doing my show, I hope this is a dead issue, because I reported this person twice. I blocked them now, and I made sure that this is going to be a dead issue. So, on another note, I was saying the other day, it was like, I hope I don't do this again, because I keep water or iced tea or Coke around me. Water is probably the best thing, and it's not going to make a difference what you spill. But I spilled it on this ancient keyboard. I said, oh, yeah, I said this, and now I'm being a hypocrite about it. I said, you could submerge it under water, because the keyboards used to be made really well, even by Apple. So, and I actually like the old keyboards much better than the new ones. So the other day I spilled Coke on my keyboard. I said, oh, well, hey, it's not going to make any big deal. I just got a wash rag and wipe it up. It was only a couple drops, believe it or not. It wasn't even that much. It was a couple drops. It only hit the surface of the key, so I kind of used Windex on it too. And lo and behold, the keyboard stopped working. It shorted out. So I had to order a new keyboard. I think it was like $59 for the Apple keyboards. That's the standard price now for an Apple keyboard. You can buy a generic keyboard for Windows. It costs you like $3 because I've done that before. Now, the keys aren't laid out precisely the same. That's the problem. Apple uses different commands. You can use a PC keyboard on an Apple, but the problem is then you have to kind of figure out how to lay out how all the keys are laid out, because they're not, the keys, the commands aren't, they're not the same. Like, what's written on the key is not exactly what the command will be for Apple. So that gets really confusing, and it gets really tough. That's why I like using an Apple keyboard. So anyway, that being said, I got an Apple keyboard, but the thing is like, listen, at this point, I've been going through one keyboard about every 6 months, and that gets expensive. You're talking, I said $50. I'm not going to tell people the God's honest truth how much I pay, but you're talking about $60 every 6 months for a new keyboard. I was in the Apple store. I mentioned this before also. And there's this older guy, and he says, I've gone through 2 keyboards in the past year. And it's like, yeah, that's about average. I'm telling you, it's like every 6 months, like clockwork, these keyboards just either die. If it's not that you spill food or soda on there, they're going to die. And it just gets plain freaking expensive. So I got to the point, it was like, okay, I'm tired of buying this shit because it keeps on getting broken or dying. Even if you don't touch it, it breaks. So I wanted it really because Best Buy is closer to the house, and there's a plethora of Best Buys around if I got the keyboard there. But the only problem is, though, they didn't offer on the keyboards. Best Buy has that thing that is known as the Geek Squad, which is coverage as well. They offer on everything except the keyboards. They probably figured, well, the keyboards aren't that much money. But the thing is, that's why they don't offer it on keyboards. Apple keyboards, though, are god-awful expensive. A regular keyboard, you're talking $3. And an Apple keyboard you're talking $60. So, and they go up from there. $60 is the cheap one anymore. So the thing is, though, I looked at Micro Center. Micro Center doesn't go by what you're buying. It goes by the price you spend on any product in the store for Micro Center. So that's excellent. But the problem is there's only one Micro Center per state. There's only one store per state. So you can see how that's a problem. So, yeah, there's one Micro Center per state. Ours, thank goodness, is in St. David's. It's not that far, but it is a good half hour from the house. They offered a 3-year warranty at $10. 3 years, full warranty. Now, I purchased Micro Center's extended warranties on other things I've purchased, like that. I have this used Apple laptop, which I used to bring to work. It was called my throwaway one, which it actually ended up being the best one I have out of all my computer equipment. But I purchased even on that Apple, and that cost me for that laptop, I think it cost me about $125 for an extended warranty. I think it was for 2 or 3 years. Now, this was on an old Apple laptop. Well, guess what? I used that warranty at least 3 or 4 times. The first time it was for, I think, $80 to replace. Oh, now I remember. Yeah, it was $80 to replace I've said this before too, my power supply, which is $80. My hard drive, which was a hybrid hard drive, right after I bought it and I put it in myself, it ended up dying because I bought it not even at Micro Center. I bought it from online, and then I put it in myself. Micro Center had gotten it, and guess what they did? They were nice enough to put a brand new hard drive because I thought like if you put any third party hardware in, they're not going to honor it. No, they did. So they took one off their store shelves. They replaced a hard drive at their cost, which would be, I think it was $115, $130. I bought the same hard drive online, I think, for like $100. And they replaced it because they charge you for the coverage fee of replacing it. And I came up with a $0 bill. So now if I go, that was perfect. And it was another time or so I ended up bringing this Apple laptop back, which right now I'm not really using because, again, I do all my podcast on this on this PC laptop, the Star Wars one, just because it does a much better job and it just seems to, I use Audacity more so anymore than GarageBand. So if I was using GarageBand, which I am forced to use sometimes, then yeah, if I'm forced to, I should say, use my Apple, I'll be using GarageBand. Even Audacity doesn't work that bad on, what do you call it, on Apple, but Audacity was actually designed mainly to be used on a PC, not really an Apple. They worked equally as good, but more so on a PC. So anyway, I purchased, I'm sorry, I'm getting somebody hollering at me in the background, so I lost my train of thought. So anyway, I'm trying to even think of the right word. I did get the 3-year warranty on this keyboard because they do offer, again, it's not on what you're buying, it's what you're spending. So they prorate it. Like, say you spend $25, they will offer you on a $25. They even offer you replacement plans at Micro Center on flash drives. Because I remember I got a flash drive, and the girl asked me, well, do you want to extend a warranty on this? And I was like, no, that's okay, because it's not even worth it. But the extended warranty goes, again, it gets prorated by what you spend. So say you spend $5 or $10 on a flash drive, $25 on some piece of something, merchandise in the store, everything in Micro Center store, everything you can buy a warranty on. So if you spend $5 or $10, you're talking like $2 for a 2 or 3 year warranty. Now, because I remember distinctly they asked me if I wanted one on my flash drives. I bought a flash. I like the Micro Center flash drives, believe it or not. They're cheap, they're generic looking, but they actually last really long, and I've never had an issue with them. They actually work better than buying the pricey name brand ones, which none of them are really expensive anymore. You can buy 13, 32 gigs, 64 gigs on a flash drive. You're not going to spend more than $16, $25. So anyway, it was $10 for 3 years on this keyboard, and by that being said, I know I'm going to go through at least per year. I'll be going through 2 keyboards per year. Now, hopefully I don't. But the average has been 1 every 6 months that I've broken a keyboard or they'd stop working properly. So the thing was it worth it for me to buy this? Absolutely. This $10 for a $60 keyboard. Let me do the math now because, like I said, I'm bad with math. 3 years is what? 3 years would be 36 months, right? 12 times, I should even know that, but I don't. 36 months, and divide that by 2. No, that's not right. Because what that's like 18 keyboards. So, it's 2 a year. 2 times 3. Well, it'd be at least, that makes more sense. It would be about 6 keyboards. So you do $60 times 6 keyboards. That's, $60 a piece. That's $360 for a $10 extended warranty. So is it worth it? Wait a minute. Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely is. So, yeah, I definitely, and if, like I said, if Best Buy offered a 3-year plan on their keyboards from Apple, I would have gone for one in a heartbeat. But for the money I'll waste on gas, it's worth it, every penny, because it's cheaper than suffering through having to buy $60 keyboards where I go through one every 6 months again. So, you know what? I tried to send myself this file that I had posted, and it was so big, that audio file, that it won't let me, it keeps on telling me, oh, that file is too big. You can't send it. So, and it would be under a draft, a draft of a file, but I can't find it. I really don't care. So I'll just have to, next time the warning comes up. So anyway, again, I didn't really post much otherwise. And again, I was mentioning that, well, I can't remember, that these women that they're bitch and complain, and yet they're walk around scantily clad and wanting people to see them, but then they get mad if you make not even a comment, not even do anything, just they'll find a way to complain about it. So anyway, I'm going to look through these stories. I am doing it right now just to see if there's anything worth talking about. Now, Alan West did post something again, and I'm looking at it right now, so I have no clue what it's about, but I love Alan West. You know that. I hope you know that by now. And he put up something today, and it said, breaking news, UK just issued a massive terrorism warning, and it was for today's date. While Americans and our media obsess about the latest third-grade smackdown on our presidential candidates by another, one of these greatest threats of our time continues its rise, and today the UK terrorist chief issued a stark reminder of just how massive the threat posed by the Islamic State is to our very civilization. So we're worried about who we're voting for president, and while we're fighting amongst each other on the GOP situation, it says, again, thank you, Alan West, for posting this today. He says that now they're making a state of emergency, so to speak, in the UK, how dangerous it has now become with the ISIS, how the free countries of this world are now under not only scrutiny, they're just under severe threat of being attacked by these ISIS people. That's being overlooked because we got so much going on of people fighting amongst each other. So that's really scary, actually. So thank you again, Alan West. And by the way, I this is one thing I did want to mention. After this situation of that person trying to destroy me on YouTube and now Facebook, they successfully got me shut down for one day. I deliberately, as a test, I put up so many scantily clad, which were, clothed, pictures of women. Now, these weren't ones I found. These were ones that I reposted just the way I did before, just to see if I get a red flag and shut down for 48 hours this time. But it didn't happen. I mean, I'm really taking a risk, but I just don't really care. I've been pushed against a wall so hard that I'm finally, I'm fighting back, basically. So, and it successfully showed that was that person I blocked because I didn't get anything. I didn't get anybody offended. Yeah, it's only 7:30. Feels much later because it's like pitch dark out now. I did actually, it's funny, I have to get this test done for my job that my job said they were going to originally pay for it. They wanted me to take this psychological test to figure out how they should give me work. Not even a psychological test. It was more of a test on what I'm capable of doing and what I'm capable of not doing. Like, they want to get a clear-cut view on how I process information, what I can do and what I can't do, what is crossed in the line of asking me to do certain type of work that is something I'm totally incapable of doing. And this test has to be done down at Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia. The test takes 6 hours long. Now, my job said they originally were going to pay for it. Then they totally denied the whole thing. That's a different story, obviously, though. So I've been holding out. It's not until June that this test will come up. Then I'll probably not be doing these podcasts in the afternoon anymore, or even the evening. I'll be doing them early in the morning like I did before, which I really don't like doing. But I'm enjoying this while I can. I'm trying to get as much in as possible when I have things to talk about. So anyway, I figured, you know what? Even though it's not until June, I better set up a room in Philadelphia, find a hotel nearby. So I did do just that. And not only did I look for a room in Philadelphia, I looked for one near the Jefferson Hospital. The one they recommended actually was sold out already in March. It was sold out. There was no way that I could get a room. So that being said, I was like, okay, I'll go through these other places. I think I went through hotels.com, which I've used them before. They recommended the same hotel that Jefferson Hospital recommended you should stay at if you want to stay near the hospital within walking distance. So that's exactly what I did. And through hotels.com, because they keep so many rooms that they have, like Hotels, Expedia, everything, they have certain rooms locked off even if they're sold out. So I got the same hotel that was sold out through hotels.com, which actually was great because now I got a room. Unfortunately, it's about 2 blocks from any local garage to their hotel room. So I got to actually carry my luggage like a block or 2, maybe 3 blocks from where I can park the car to where I'm going to be staying. That's going to really suck. So I'm going to pack light because my whole reason for going down there, it's June 9th, down to Philadelphia, is to take this test. Now, the problem is I don't know if my job's going to pay for it or not. That's going to be a major issue. So if they don't pay for it, I got to decide, okay, well, am I going to actually really buckle down and pay for this test myself? Or am I going to, fight this to the bitter tooth and nail and say, listen, or whatever. They told me they're going to pay for this test. They were the ones who requested my job. Now they're making me pay for this test in order to keep my job. So I got to decide that. Now, this might help me in the future, near future, or even the future, because, one, if I find that they're violating my rights, or they were violating my rights, you got a court case. Or, I can take it to a lawyer. What can I say? If I go to another job, or I'm forced to go for another job, that can also benefit me because I already have written out what I'm capable of doing and what I'm not. And for the most part, most jobs, even though they will, technically can't discriminate. That would be discrimination if they say, well, we don't need anybody with your qualifications right now. They can't do that because that would be discrimination. So that would probably benefit me. The problem is the test is $2,800 now. That is a major problem. So I got to kind of weigh out every side of every side of this issue if I want to do it or not. Either way, I did get a hotel room. I can't remember where it was. Probably best if I don't mention it anyway, so I won't even bother to look it up. But I did get it on motels.com. Got it because most of the hotels, that's a funny thing. If you get a motel room right now down the city, at the most elaborate hotels, motels, whatever, down in Philadelphia, you're going to pay no more than $100. In June, the same hotels, motels cost $400 a night. So that's just ridiculous. And all I need is a place just to sleep. I don't need it for any other reason. So that being said, I found one that was actually got really good ratings, walking distance from the Jefferson Hospital, and it was like $137 a night. It's expensive, but it's better than $400 a night. And I only need it. I got it for the day before, the day of the test, and then leave it the next day because it's a 6-hour test. So the last thing I want to do is pack up my stuff and have to take it to the hospital where there's nowhere to park. I'd rather stay parked in a parking garage for the day before, the day of the test, and leave the next day. So that's really cool. So I got that all situated. Now, here's a funny thing, though. I can't remember what I was going to say now, so I apologize. But, yeah, that's cool. I got that straightened out. That's a week before the big WizardCon. That's kind of weird. And me and my friend, I said, a friend and I said we're not going to go this year. I forgot to mention the friend's name. His name's Todd. My friend Todd, we've been going for the past 20 years, literally to these comic conventions. This will probably be the first year we're not going to go. And it's just because it's gotten way out of hand. I mean, asking $1,000 just for a ticket to see somebody is just ridiculous. So we came to the point, we both came to a mutual agreement. We're not going to do it again this year. This is just too crazy. We're sick and tired of being taken advantage of, paying all this elaborate amount of money just to go say hello to somebody and meet them for 30 seconds. So that being said, we're probably not going to go. And it's going to be exactly, I think, the week after the comic convention, WizardCon. And that's another reason I think the prices are so high. Even if it's a week later, they're still keeping their prices really high. It is the middle of summertime. I don't know who wants to visit Philadelphia, but apparently people do. I'm not paying that kind of crazy money, for a convention. So what I end up doing, because there's one right down the road from where I live in Oaks, and for some reason they never send me a validation on these tickets, so thank God I printed them out. I'm going to go to the one in Oaks called I think it's called the Greater Philadelphia Comic Convention. I did buy my tickets for that. I'm going to see if I can post that up. I did do it on my Facebook page. Let me see if I can find it again. Anyway, they were supposed to send me a verification code, email. They never did. So, thank goodness, I printed everything out ahead of time. It's called the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con, and it's in Oaks. It's not even close to Philly. So, that I believe it or not, I spend about $200 on, but I got a VIP ticket, for one thing, for the 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can drive back and forth, and the reason it was expensive was the VIP ticket was a little bit hefty. It's for all 3 days. You get to cut the lines, which means there's still lines, but you get to cut the lines to be in the front of the line to get autographs with these people. So I'm doing one each day. I'm trying to see if I can find my PDF program to see if the tickets are still there. Yeah, because for some reason, it's not showing up. Maybe I'll look. It's not important right now, but I printed out the tickets right away. Thank goodness, because guess what? It didn't send me the verification. The verification thing was supposed to be for my tickets as well. Okay, but they actually ended up on my Adobe Reader. Yeah, for April 22nd and through the 24th, the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, 100 Station Avenue, Oaks, PA, 19456. And it's my ticket. And yes, my email address was incorrect. So that's probably part of the reason. I only put one R in there. It's too late to change it now. But I do have the passes, so I never got the emails because I had given an incorrect email address. I put one R in my last name instead of two. Either way, I did save everything. I did print it out because otherwise I'd end up, they're going to say, well, you're shit out of luck, on these tickets, even though they were paid for. So thank goodness for that. I was wondering why I never got an email on this stuff. But yeah, I put them all up. They're PDF files. And I was wondering why. And I made it. Yeah, it says Denise Crosby. That's one person I'm getting an autograph with. I know the other one. I got to look now. It's Denise Crosby because I also had a crush on her. Her again. I'm trying to look for the other ones. It's not showing up right now. Yeah, I'm trying to look for the other ones. Thank goodness I did that. Honestly, usually you pay it on a card or something, or it kind of lets you know. John Wesley Shipp, that was number 2, And these were like $40 a pop, so it's not very cool when I messed up. Amy Jo Johnson. Nobody knows who that is. She played the original Pink Power Ranger. And honestly, I really never watched that show. I only watched it for masturbation material shortly and the girl's in her 40s. But it was just because I thought she was really cute. But I got what's called a general VIP 3-day pass. So thank goodness I did do this correctly. Because if I didn't have these ticket stubs, I would have been fucked. I would have really been fucked because I put the wrong email address in. Or I misspelled my email address by shortening it by one R. So they're in my PDF file, so that's good. Otherwise, again, I would have been, either having to rebuy these tickets or whatever. So thank goodness that I have them to my PDF and I made hard copies, and they are in a drawer right now. So it's like basically having the copies of my tickets. So it shouldn't make a difference when I go to this convention. It should not make a hill of beans of difference. I'll just tell them, listen, I typed my email address in. And they can actually verify if they say, well, how do we know this is you? I can give you the credit card I paid it on. How's that? So I'm going that in April. I got Kevin Smith, I think, in a month after that. This month, next weekend, I won't be on Saturday doing any type of show because me and my friend Matt are going to go see New Order. They're playing down the Tower Theater. I got to look for directions for that. Put in my, GPS. And then, in addition, there is somewhere down the Trocadero. I'm going to see this one girl. She has that album. Actually, I got to look. I think, over the other side of the bridge from Philly, what do you call it's coming back? My man, Rob Zombie, because I missed him in Hershey. I'm looking at the the name of the chick. Trocadero, I don't mind too much. I know I could have probably did this other person too. She sold out too. Melanie Martinez, Crybaby tour, sold out. It sold out like the first freaking day. And I really like her music. I'm going to bring my camera along. I know I can bring it into the Trocadero. They never give me a problem about it. I'm just going to go through the old just listen. I've done this a million times, but I'll tell you again. So, yeah, she sold out really quick. So, and she really impressed me right away. So, I got that. I mean, I got certain events I'd love to go to. I just can't go to every event this year like I have been. I really got to start paying off some of the debt that I accumulated on borrowing for myself, which I will do. So I'm going to look at this article. I keep on going around this, like I circle around this one article. I'm going to look at it now. Some opposing views. It was 3 hours ago, so I'm not sure if it's a good one or a bad one because opposing views, it's hard to take them as should I trust what they say or not, if that makes any sense. Let's go back. So there's some story. It says she falsely accused, that's the name what the story says. Woman who falsely accused National Guardsman of rape learns her fate. She falsely accused a member of the Army National Guards of sexually assaulting her. He was thrown into jail and fired and couldn't be deployed with his team. And that's not even the worst part. She, what's it say? Should her punishment have been more severe? So she got punished somehow for lying. It's all opposing views. Colorado woman who pieced together an elaborate story about being kidnapped and raped was sentenced Friday after having been found guilty of lying to police. See, this is the thing. Women can cry rape and they won't get taken seriously, and this is really scary for us guys. It says reports Weld County District Court Judge Timothy Kern sentenced 21-year-old Catherine Burnett to 32 days in jail and 180 days of house arrest and 5 years of probation. See, that is a slap on the wrist. Women still get a slap. If a man would have done something similar to this, it would probably have been laughed out of the court, but he would have gotten a court sentence of at least 5 years in jail. It says she was found guilty in late August attempting to influence a public servant and 2 counts of tampering with evidence, according to Associated Press. So that's another reason why I had to put up about Milo, how, guys are the ones that are really getting, in so many words or less, they're giving the short end of the stick on these stories. Women are always taken very seriously. They're bitch and complain. And I did mention that before, because I remember Milo mentioned that women always are complaining how they get paid far less less than men, like 77 cents per dollar is what females get. Some guy named Mohammed wants me to add him now. So, I'm sorry, it's not even about his name. Dude, I'll add you, but you have a very limited amount of information on your Facebook page, which kind of leads me to believe not to trust you. No offense. Because it's one of those things, I hate to tell you, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. That any person that I see who posts something and has a limited amount of information on their page, like there's like not much, maybe most of it's blocked, but honestly, when you do that shit, you're just kind of telling me that you're not a real person. You're just trying to. That's why I don't add people unless they have a lot of, if they keep their stuff hidden, I'm not going to add you. If I can't even see who your friends are, that's fine, but don't expect me to add you at the same time. So I'm going to try to get this other story I've had up for a long time. It was on, it's comic book resources. It was on Peter Catoldi. I think he's changing his note now, his tune of like quitting after the director Stephen Moffat leaves. I think he might stay on a little longer now, which would be really cool. It says Peter Catoldi. This was posted today. Peter Catoldi has been asked to remain on Doctor Who after Moffat leaves. I really hope that happens. Although Peter Catoldi recently hinted that he may not star in Doctor Who for much longer, the actor now reveals he's been asked to remain following the departure of it following next year, because it's not on this year. No Doctor Who for 2016. It's not coming back till 2017. They're now asking him to stay on for the other producer after Moffat leaves, which I think would be really good, because I think Catoldi will be happy if he does that. So they're saying that departure next year of Stephen Moffat. So it's not on this year. Next year, I don't think Moffat's going to do it. The new director is going to do it. Producer. So it says, however, whether he will remains to be seen. So it's not etched in stone. Personally, if Peter Catoldi could hear this, it's like, dude, please stay on. I really would love to see you stay on under a different producer who won't hold you down. I mean, I really want to see that happen. I'm serious. By the way, Supergirl's on tonight, too. I did mention, I think, that I'm going to be seeing Kevin Smith in another month or two, as well as all this other stuff. There's a story I found that was on the Lansdale patch. It's really cool. The Lansdale patch is definitely awesome. And it says, the tirade allegedly began when, well, I should read it. Drunk Lansdale man allegedly threatens family. And it says the tirade allegedly began when a man's girlfriend and his daughter refused to buy him a suit, and he felt disrespected. The tirade allegedly began. So all over not buying something for this guy. And yes, I'll say it again, it was in Lansdale's Lansdale patch. Lansdale man had been arrested allegedly for threatening family members after while he was drunk Wednesday, according to a report. This past Wednesday, discord began between Mark, oh wow, that's a weird name, 51 of East Main Street, his girlfriend, and his daughters over a suit which he wanted bought for him, the reports state. The girlfriend first refused to buy the suit. Not a suit, but a suit you wear. Not a lawsuit, though, but a suit you actually put on. And then when he asked his daughter to buy it for him, this suit, she told him to buy it himself, according to the report. And he was, apparently drunk. So this ended up being into a domestic dispute where he threaten their lives. That's interesting. I really like that one. I really don't. I'm just saying, though. Oh, there's a couple of funny pictures. I can only mention what they're about. But I have to laugh at them because I like the way people put these together. It's the one on the dolphin that was pretty much capsized ashore. So people picked it up and were found on this damn dolphin, and the dolphin died because even though it's a mammal, it still needs to be in the water. So it dried up pretty much. So it says, baby dolphin dies after people take selfies with it. Remember that picture? You might have heard about that story. So somebody put underneath a picture of a pigeon underneath. They kind of cut these pictures together. They put them together. The one with the dolphin dying. And another one of a pigeon. And then the caption for the pigeon they put underneath of this dolphin is the pigeon says, "That's why I shit on people." So I'm like looking at it. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. So and another one that was really, really funny. It's a picture of his cat. It's like from my I love cats pictures. And it's a picture of that stuffed animal from Aliens you can get, like that thing that, the face hugger. And they put it on top of the cat, and the cat's got its mouth open like it's like in pain. And he's got a face hugger on top of him. Not a real one, just a fake one. So there's some really, really funny pictures. And again, I did put up a lot of pictures just to, piss people off of women in spandex and stuff. Just to see. I know this is going to stop because there was only one person who found everything I posted as being offensive, and they are now no longer in the Walter universe. They're no longer in my grasp. So that's great. Anyway, somebody did post a picture. I did post it up. I think it's funny and it's really disgusting at the same time of Miley Cyrus. And they kind of made it look like she looks like a zombie. And it says, Miley Cyrus has just been turned into a zombie. What's your weapon of choice to take her out? Well, probably a sledgehammer would be effective. I don't want to break the sledgehammer, though. And I've seen a couple stories. I'm not going to read these, but it says now that, I'll read the one caption on this one story from one of these stories. Whatever, I just repeated myself. Why the latest shocking news from the FBI about Clinton's emails indicates that she is going to be going to jail. Now, they also indicated that her husband will, too. That would be great because if it ends up that she gets in enough trouble that she could be, serving jail time, there's no way. Well, I don't know. Nowadays, that's not the case. But I'm like wishfully thinking, okay, if she's going to be serving jail time or possibly up for jail time, that should qualify her for running for president. I'm really hoping this will happen. Got some interesting story I found from proenglish.org. And it says West Virginia is the 32nd state to pass an official English required speaking law. Governor Earl Ray Tublin has signed a bill requiring West Virginia state businesses to be done in English. So it's the 32nd state. We got a lot more to go. And it should not be an issue. But apparently they had passed a law that said, yeah, it's required that businesses have an English-speaking language, which it should be a no-brainer, but apparently it's not. Here is one that was funny. It's a picture again I have to talk about. I showed it to my mother. She's like obsessed with these peeps, those marshmallow peeps. I personally think they're really disgusting. But they put one up where they showed you how you can make, it's from Peewee.com, Pee Wee Herman, where he made a skillet s'mores out of peeps. The peeps you get for different holidays. These are the peeps, the original ones you get for Easter. So he made a skillet. It says Peeps Skillet S'mores, and it shows you a picture of multicolored peeps that are actually cooked up in a skillet to make, Peeps S'mores. Pretty interesting, I'll tell you that much. I had another story I found from PIX11. I found a lot of these really interesting stories, by the way, today. PIX11.com, it says, Jamaica, Queens, a young man was shot dead inside a car Sunday night, police said. NYPD officers responded to the call. The man shot in the vicinity of 188 24th Minchin, looks like that, Minchin Avenue, Jamaica, Queens, at approximately 7:24 p.m. Upon arrival, the cops found the victim, 24-year-old Christopher Dawson, inside a 4-door sedan with gunshot wounds to the head. Paramedics arrived to the scene, took him to Jamaica Hospital. It was actually a place in New York called Jamaica, where he was pronounced dead about a half hour later. So there you go. Another story I put up, also PIX11. Maybe it's the same thing, I don't know. Suspect captured following deadly crime spree in Queens. 2 NYPD officers hurt. A lot happened in Queens. It says 2 NYPD members were sprayed with an accelerant and burned on Sunday night in the final moment of a manhunt for a 23-year-old who went on a violent spree earlier during the day, authorities had stated. The suspect, Patrick James Dillon, had slashed a woman, burned one man, fatally stabbed another before he was shot in both legs by the police, authorities said. Well, they took the guy down finally, but he was going on this spree of just viciously attacking people. And believe it or not, yes, well, never mind. They got a picture, I think, somewhere. Not on the actual thing, but they had to take this guy down. He was just going on this violent tour of hurting people. They have now, on my page, they have a mugshot. It's like a young Caucasian guy. Funny thing, I like these statements I find. I always find these, and people love these. And these would have got blocked, too, if I was still off. And it states, it's a comedy, little handwritten thing, whatever you want to call it, billboard. And it says, I think my road rage is getting better. I only said motherfucker, cocksucker only 13 times instead of 50. There's another one. It says 15 names of assholes, most common asshole names. Now, this one's really funny. For men, it's, the most common asshole names are Dick, Bill, Kyle, George, Todd, Kent, Shane, Dan, Tim, Steve, Kurt, Jason, Nick, and Justin. Again, 15 names of assholes, most common asshole names. So this is hilarious. Now, there's one for women. There's 15 for the women, too. Stephanie, Brandy, Vanessa, Kelly, Sarah, Shira, Miley, Laura, Megan, Paula, Sheila, Liz, Debbie, and Amy. I think this is funny. My name's not on there, by the way. You know what? I totally forgot. I hate to... Oh, there's another one that was really funny, too. It's a picture of an owl with a cigarette in his mouth. It's like one of these quirky pictures. I'm just lurking around, it says, watching the fuckery. Liking comments, being nosy, stealing memes, and shit. So I'm still trying to just kind of wean it down because I don't want to follow up this story, but I have to put it in. I have no choice at this point. But I totally forgot. Just yesterday they announced, unfortunately, Mrs. Nancy Reagan passed away. It's a shame. Nancy Reagan, 1921 to 2016. She was 94 years old, I think. It says we're saddened to hear that America has now lost Nancy Reagan in thoughts and prayers. Now, it's a shame because they were like the couple, Nancy Reagan and Ronald Reagan, one of the best presidents, too. One of the best first ladies as well. Now, the problem is, though, they even said that Nancy really never got to enjoy, or neither did Ronald Reagan. He never got to enjoy his retirement because when he retired, he was like 70 years old, and by 72, he ran for president and won 2 terms. So Ronald Reagan spent his retirement age running our government, and he did a very good job, obviously. He definitely, I don't regret him doing that, but he gave up the best years of his life, being retired, to fix things that were wrong in our country, which now, unfortunately, once again, they're wrong again because of who we have. So it's a real shame. He was one of the best presidents, and his golden years were spent fixing the problems in our country. And he did a really good job. But I am really sorry to say that Nancy Reagan passed away yesterday. Again, I would have fit it in elsewhere, but there was no way I can do it. I tried. I really did. I just kicked my mic. So anyway, I have this story I found on AWM.com. I find these all over the place, these stories. And it's titled, "They Want to Go for a Jog, but just minutes in, they are fighting for their lives. The cause warning." Now, here you get this. 2 young women in India are recovering from a vicious, here's what I love to talk about, vicious pit bull attack while out on an afternoon jog. They don't look like they're Indian, though, or from India, but it says, is it Indiana, maybe? Maybe that's what I meant. Maybe I said India. Maybe I think I meant Indiana. This doesn't even look like it's India. Let's look at the name again. Yeah, it is, actually. I apologize. I said India. I meant Indiana. So it says the 2 cousins, 19-year-old Isabella George and 20-year-old Rebecca Fogarty, decided to jog along a country road in Carroll County, Indiana, when suddenly a pack of 4 pit bulls approached and brutally attacked the pair. Now, it is really like, if you're weak stomach, I mean, I feel bad for these girls, by the way, these 2 young girls, but their legs are so gnawed up. I mean, all the way. Their legs are completely gnawed by these pit bulls, these 2 young girls. I mean, it is horrible. Now, you got to watch, because I don't know, I didn't look into it that far. Yeah, it says the attack became a 30-minute feeding frenzy. I told you, I don't like pit bulls at all. Now, you got to watch, because these girls, they got to make sure, they might even have to go for tetanus shots, or what do you call it, for rabies. And they're very painful. After realizing the dog's intentions, 2 women raced across. Did I miss something? Yeah, they were okay. It just basically says they were brutally attacked by these pit bulls. After realizing the dog's intentions, the 2 women raced across the field, towards home. But the dogs chased them down and tackled the woman to the ground. Then the pit bulls started tearing away at the young woman's flesh. This is what it exactly says. Turned into a 30-minute frenzy. Fogarty is missing more than 75% of her scalp, and muscles were ripped from her legs. Despite the injuries, she was in stable condition and intensive care, but sure need muscle and skin grafts that will never be able to regrow, but she'll never be able to regrow her hair. So she got, what was it now again, did I say? 75%. She's pretty much, half her scalp was ripped out of her. Her hair was ripped out of her scalp, and it's not replaceable. She's going to be pretty much bald, just to go for an afternoon jog. Now, this is, again, but pit bulls are so sweet and innocent, like everything else the left tries to convince you of in these fucking whack jobs with these damn dogs. Now, this poor girl is ruined for life. She's going to look like, I don't even want to say it, she's going to look like a freak show. There's no other way to put it. The dog's owner, Richard Darter, 50, tried to stop the attack, but ended up as dog food too. So the guy who owned the dogs attacked the owner as well, and ate him as well, bit him as well. The victims and owner were only rescued when a motorist saw the dogs were doing what they were doing in the field. So thank God for this woman. She drove in, scattered the animals, then hauled the victim into her truck. So this lady was very heroic, it says. This woman who saved these people's lives, even the owner. The heroic woman was called a godsend for rescuing these people. The dogs were caught the next day. One was shot dead by the police. The other 3 were euthanized. So you can say what you love about these dogs being so sweet and innocent, that it's a misconception about these pit bulls, and I will find ways to prove you wrong over and over again. And it's going to be more and more of people losing their lives or getting seriously injured. So there was that. I got to look for this one story where this woman was dancing nude on top of a tractor trailer, too. I forget where I put that. But here's another one. This is pretty funny. It actually looks really cool, too. Woman leads police on a chase while driving the Mystery Machine van from Scooby-Doo. It literally, she painted up this truck and did a very good job to make it look exactly like the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine van. I mean, it's a perfect replica. I'm not even kidding. So it was in Redding, California. This woman was driving a minivan painted to look like the Mystery Machine, you know, the one from Scooby-Doo, led officers on a police chase on Sunday. The officers with the Redding Police Department were contacted about noon in regards to a woman who was wanted for probation violations. When the police attempted to stop the 15-year-old Shannon K. Turman, she sped off. And the chase, which reached speeds more than 100 miles an hour, led police through the city of Anderson during the chase. Officers said Truman ran the red lights and hit 4 cars. Isn't that great? It said the chase ended when Turman, I should say, abandoned her vehicle along the highway her whereabouts are still unknown according to KRCR. So she actually escaped on foot. That is too funny. I'm sorry. I think that's hilarious. And I have a picture, a mugshot of her. She looks pretty scary. She looks like she's like 90 years old. I did find that story I was talking about. That was PIX 11 too, by the way. Naked woman danced on the top of an 18-wheeler shut down Texas highway. That's pretty funny. Houston, a woman undressed and climbed on top of a big rig on a major highway in Houston area on Monday. The incident, which was captured on video, took place after a pedestrian had apparently been struck on Highway 290 in Harris County. Local television station KPRC reported. It is unclear if the woman was involved in the collision or why she climbed on top of the truck in the first place. The video showed the woman standing, and even dancing various times, and as she remained on the cab of the 18-wheeler. I'm just going to let you know right now, she's really hideous looking, too. The Houston Fire Department ladder truck was parked in front of the big rig, and one firefighter could be seen moving into position to help get the woman down, CNN reported. She was eventually taken into custody by police. So nobody knows if she was involved in also these accidents that had taken place in that same story. Hey, this is pretty interesting. J.K. Simmons joins Justice League as Commissioner Gordon. The Spider-Man star will play Jim Gordon, Gotham City's police commissioner, in director Zack Snyder's Justice League films. That's pretty cool. They actually got somebody different now to play Jim Gordon. That's pretty weird. Again, they got some stories up or pictures on Supergirl because that's going to be on. There's somewhere in this mix, I don't know where it is. There's this, here she is. Spider-Man reboot cast Zendaya or something in the lead role. If you ever watched, no, you haven't. I have because I'm just one of these pathetic people. On Disney Channel, there was a show called, oh, God, I can't remember. I'm going to have to look what she played on now because I can't remember. Oh, it was called Shake It Up, I think. It was a Disney show. These kids at the time, especially her, she was only like 12 years old when she first got the part. She's only 16 now. But she's slowly made a big name for herself. Her and I forget the other chick she played with on this show. But it was her, some redheaded girl. They played on this show, a dance show. It was supposed to be these young kids, 12-year-olds, who end up becoming like they get themselves deliberately on this dance show that was meant for like actually young adults because they were good dancers. And the show was pretty funny. I think it was called Shake It Up or something like that. It was on Disney Channel. Well, now she's going to be in a leading role, this girl. She's 16 again. She's still really young, and that's really good for her. In Spider-Man, I mean, she's basically just, she has her own TV show now. She's in a different TV show on Disney Channel. I think it's Disney XD. And now she's actually gone one step further, and she's going to get herself into the Spider-Man movies, the reboots. And even if it's going to be like another reboot after that. It won't even matter. She's going to definitely get her name out there even more so than she did on Disney. Well, obviously Disney owns most of this stuff anyway, so it's not a far stretch, but this is good for her career. I mean, a 16-year-old is going to be probably a common household name when this is all said and done on the new Spider-Man reboot. So I think that's really cool for her. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in. You know, I found another story. I did read this a little bit. It was on the Times Herald. It was just today that it was posted. It won't be in the newspaper till tomorrow, though. It says, shopper arrested at the King of Prussia Mall for trying to retrieve a backpack. And what he basically did, this person did, is, I think it's a guy. Let me see, Upper Merion. Shortly after 2 p.m. on February 17th, a customer at Victoria's Secret in King of Prussia Mall left a backpack in the store. As an employee looked inside the bag, they could see it contained identification and found the bag was filled with marijuana. The employee called the police, and when the customer came back to retrieve the bag, he was taken into custody. The background check revealed that the man was also on state parole for aggravated assault. So, see, he had a bag, a duffel, basically a backpack filled with marijuana, and he was wanted by the police. And he left his duffel bag in Victoria's Secret. So there you got another prize winner right there. So I always can find those. Another one that was on Times Herald today. A man was convicted of aggravated assault in Montgomery County Court for his actions on slashing the throat of a man who attempted to break up an altercation. So this man, a good Samaritan, tried to break up a fight and got his throat slashed in Norristown. Norristown man convicted of throat slash and assault. The Norristown man was convicted of aggravated assault in Montgomery County once again, and his actions on slashing the throat of a man who attempted to break up an altercation. The altercation, I think, the throat slasher was arguing with his girlfriend, I think. Let me double check. Well, this guy, his name's Nathaniel Darby, 45, who was last known address was in 200 block of Forest Avenue, was convicted of a felony and aggravated assault by Judge Thomas Rogers following a bench trial, according to the court documents. Darby was arrested following the visit at the victim's home on the 700 block of West Erie Street on the evening of June 5th, 2014. According to the arrest affiliate, Darby and a woman left the home, and soon after, the victim, William Jones, heard screaming and went outside to help, but Jones was attacked by Darby when he attempted to step between Darby and the woman who was attempting to assault that Avariat, whatever said. I apologize about that. So the bottom line was this guy was trying to be a good Samaritan. This guy, was his name Jones? Yeah, this guy named I'm going to say William Jones. I was going to say Mr. Jones. I think that's the name of a song. And got his throat slashed trying to break up a fight between a man and a woman. I tell you, and you wonder why people anymore, when you see violent acts, this is exactly why sometimes people just, basically they kind of turn the other way and pretend like they don't see anything. Because they're too afraid of getting hurt, literally, or even getting killed. This poor victim, this guy was just trying to be a good Samaritan, got his throat slashed. And this was in Norristown, PA, right around where I live. I'm technically considered Norristown. I have probably, this is going to be I'm whittling down on the stories right now. I think I'm not going to have much left. Guy named Brandon Walker sentenced for placing sewing needle in co-worker's drinking straw. This was on the Dreamin' Demon. It was posted. This was in actually the UK where this happened, where Brandon Walker, 19, has been sentenced to 18 months in youth custody after he placed a sewing needle in his co-worker's drinking straw, sending her to the hospital to have the needle removed from her throat. That is horrible. I got some older stories too. Shocking road rage caught on camera. Now, here's the only problem is This story is like really old. It says driver rams car before pushing another backwards up a one-way street. Watch the crazy driver ram into a car before pushing another car backwards up a one-way street. It's not opening up too quickly. I don't even care. I think it was dated a couple years ago, too. And it finally went up. I'm not even kidding. It went up like yesterday on the Daily Mail. But the date was like, yeah, it was the footage uploaded to Facebook on Monday was filmed in 2014. It was in Sydney, which is Australia. So for some reason, somebody found this footage and they put it up this yesterday on the Daily UK. And they made an article out of it. They must be running low on articles. Because I'm like trying to look when this was originally dated. It was published on March 6th. It's only the 7th. It was yesterday, and it said it was updated March 6th. So, yeah, they got a 2-year-old article that they had to publish on Daily UK Mail. What's that telling you about them? They don't really have much new to talk about. I think it's pretty funny. I do got some other interesting stuff. I'm not going to go through everyone. Oh, there is one that is really funny. I mean, to me it is, because it's got that sense of humor. It says horrible crap at it. A new video. It's a post link on Facebook called Horrible Crap, and it shows under. It almost looks like an X-ray type thing. But it says, this is what, I'm not even kidding, this is what a fart looks like under an infrared airport security camera. Lots of laughs, LOL, or laughing out loud. And it shows this guy, it looks like it has to be a guy, and he's like thinking that nobody can see it. He's just acting dumb, and he's farting, and they're showing it under the security camera that like basically X-rays everything. And it shows what it looks like under a security camera, what you don't see when somebody farts. And it's like this big fucking dark cloud behind the guy's ass. It's really funny. So, yeah, there's that. And I got some other stories. I can't read through all these stories at this point. It's just too much. So I got this other story from Fox 29 from yesterday. It was around 3 o'clock yesterday. Cops, they used a stun gun to discipline their children. It's a cop story, but these parents used a stun gun to discipline their parents. It was on Fox 29 yesterday. So Fox 29, that's my news. That's my Fox story. But it said it came from Southwest Florida, where 2 parents were arrested. Again, they discipline their kids with a stun gun. Isn't that great how these parents get away with this shit? I won't say why. Another one that was pretty interesting, Suicide Squad, Margaret Robbie says Harley Quinn's classic costume was tested. The soon-to-live action clown princess of crime, Margaret Robbie, was quoted as saying that many Harley Quinn looks were tried, even the BTAS look before. I guess when she looks like, Harley Quinn looks like a court's jester. Apparently they said they tried, different type of costumes on Margaret, and they ended up with the one that you're going to see in the film this coming year of Harley Quinn. I can't wait. She looks really hot either way. So I do got, I always got my stories, just letting you know. And it was funny. I had a post, just a picture. There was something I got from youngcoalitions.com. Everything that's wrong with socialism summed up in one brilliant sign. I gave it to a friend. And it says, some young, hot-looking girls holding a sign. It says, socialism. And what it means is, you make it, they take it. So, yes, that is wrapped up in one word. Yeah, you know what? These stories just keep on going over and over. I mean, I could go on all night, and I won't. So I'm just going to read some highlights on a few, like maybe a couple more. So one was from OpposingViews.com. Doctor shocked to find an 8-month-old the 8-month-old's organs shifted from brutal rape, mother's boyfriend arrested. I read that story a while back. I just totally forgot until I read the caption. With this guy raped an 8-month-old kid, a little girl, 8-month-old, by locking his girlfriend out of her apartment and then basically ripping the insides out of this 8-year-old little girl by raping her. An 8-month-old kid, a baby. So that's really disgusting. Another one that I found, and it was 2 different links that I got up. Weaselzippers.us is where I'm going to take it from. Crack dealer freed early by Obama murders women, 2 kids. Basically, Obama released this convict who murdered 2 women early, or that had murdered a woman early from, he gave him early release. The guy shouldn't even got out of jail. He murdered somebody. He got out of jail early because he was black, and basically, I'm not even trying to be sarcastic, and Obama said we got to kind of change this whole situation of discrimination against blacks. So it basically says a convicted crack dealer who was left in prison was able to leave prison early as a part of the Obama administration mass release of federal inmates has been indicated by the grand jury for it says indicated by the grand jury for fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend and her 2 kids in Columbus, Ohio. The gory crime drew national attention because the children ages 7 and 10 were murdered to eliminate them as witnesses to the brutal massacre of their 32-year-old mother. So this guy brutally killed 2 little kids and the mother, and because he didn't want any witnesses. It says this week, a grand jury in Franklin County returned a 10-count death penalty increment against the ex-con 35-year-old Wendell Cohan for the triple murder. Cohan broke into his ex-girlfriend's apartment and stabbed the 3 victims, according to the statement issued by Franklin County prosecutor Ron O'Brien, announcing the indictment. The bloody crime scene was discovered by the woman's current boyfriend, who subsequently engaged in a fight with Cohan before he fled. So I think, if I remember correctly, because I don't want to read any more of this, again, you can find it on Weasel Zippers. This man got an early release from prison under this thing with, again, where did I see it? Let me think now. Let me see where I see that. He was a convicted crack dealer who was left prison again early as a part of the Obama administration mass release. Release these victims of these criminals because it's not fair. And now, by him doing so, this man had just basically murdered more people, his ex-girlfriend. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's what got him into jail. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Let me look at the other link I had was Reagan Coalition. Same story. I just got it off of 2 sources now. So let me see. I'm going to look at this one from Reagan Coalition. It says, an Ohio inmate was lucky enough to recently fall under the Obama administration's mass release of federal inmates. However, it seems that the ex-con decided to celebrate, and it's most recently come out exactly who he wants to see afterward. So I was right. This man gets an early release. He was a... What did I say again on the other one? Because I can go through both these. A crack dealer. He gets released early under Obama administration because, it's not being right to lock up a black man. Black men are always being stereotyped of being locked up. The man gets out of jail, and the first thing he does is he brutally murders 2 children, a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 32-year-old woman, by let's see, Jersey traveled to 32 ex-girlfriend's home where he murdered the 2 children and the woman. Because he didn't want any witnesses, too. He figured if I kill all 3 of them, I'll be good. He didn't realize the girl had a new boyfriend, and the boyfriend caught him basically with his hands in the cookie jar, so to speak. It said, basically, unfortunately, the bloody scene was found by the woman's current boyfriend, who engaged in a struggle with Callahan before the ex-con fled the scene. He was quickly caught and brought back into jail where he should have had been. He should have never been released, bottom line is. So he brutally murdered 2 children and the woman. And this would have never happened if the stupidity of our president would have, if he did not do what he did by, these black gentlemen, they're all victims. They're not victims. They're in jail for a reason. I don't care what color you are, what nationality, what religious belief you are. You're in prison for a reason. You're not in there because you're a victimized person. That is far from the fucking truth. So, again, those 2 stories alone had taken way too long. So I'm going to have to gloss over these now. There was an interesting story from Fox 29. It said 1980 murder of a high school teen solved finally. 1980, 16-year-old girl got murdered. They finally put this case to rest. No puns intended, because they caught the suspect. They finally caught him. 1980. It's now 2016, so that's a long time. So that's the thing. If you think you can get away with murder and you thought you did, you should have another thing coming to mind, because certain homicide cases never do get shut or closed. They're always happening. So the cops will stay with these stories for the rest of your life until they find you. Just to give you a heads up. So I have to find one lightning, one story that's not so dark, and I think this might be one. It was on the Times Herald. This was yesterday. Shannon recently turned 23 and is making more progress every day in her efforts to walk and talk, said her mom. And I always like stories like this, who works full-time and has taken on much of the debt with her husband in providing Shannon with everything that will benefit her in her recovery. This poor girl looks like she's probably some type of paraplegic or something, and she's slowly getting back and recuperating from whatever. Oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm wrong. It says, with a lot of therapy, household modifications, and a daily support of her family, Shannon Austin has made tremendous progress in her recovery. So maybe I was right. I thought it said autism, but no, she was basically recovering from a bad accident, I guess. It said Austin was she's been making, basically tremendous progress in recovery after her life being struck while walking on South Trooper Road. I live in Trooper, by a man driving under a suspended license 8 years ago. So this poor girl, her parents are helping this girl out now. She was made pretty much a paraplegic from walking on the road. She got struck 8 years ago, and she's still fighting to recover to be able to walk and move on her own again. So my heart goes out for people like this girl here, Shannon. So I hope her recovery continues to go in the right direction. And stories like that will put me in tears if I go too far with them. I'll tell you right now. But I do like reading those. So there was another story I did forget about, by the way. And this was on the news last night. This was on live news last night. And I found it online, and now I can't find it otherwise. So this is really bad. Now, this is this is a stereotype. No, this is the truth. There was a shooting down in Philadelphia at inside a church's chicken. And again, it was, I think the person that worked there got shot. There's bullet shells all over the fucking floor. At a fast food chicken joint, and it was involving black Americans. So that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's stereotypical, though. Well, no, it's true. And it was on Fox 29, right down here in Philadelphia. Surveillance video released of the restaurant shooting. So the poor guy there, the people that worked in there, got shot up from some asshole. So police released surveillance video after shooting inside Church's Chicken in Philadelphia. Police have released a surveillance video. Now my parents are afraid of me going down the city because of these random shootings for no good reason. So it's a surveillance video. The suspect who had fired the shots inside the fast food restaurant was in North Philly. In North Philly, I don't think it was supposed to be as bad. A 19-year-old male employee was shot multiple times inside the restaurant. He was taken to the Temple Hospital where he was listed in stable condition. Thank goodness for that. We believe the offender was inside eating when he was involved in the altercation with the employee, a second employee who happened to be his brother of the first confronted, the person who confronted the man with the gun to squash the situation, and then was shot several times, Captain Nicholas Brown said. So this whole thing started because they were cleaning the tables, because I watched the video for it. And the guy got pissed off, this guy who was shooting these two, I guess they were brothers, these two brothers that worked at this, what was it called again? Church's Chicken. They both got shot at by, or at least the one was shot at by this man who came in, and they gave a description of him, so I'm going to give that. The description of this person who was shooting these two employees at Church's Chicken is, quote unquote, a black man with a gray beard, about 50 to 60 years of age, wearing a black fedora, glasses, black trench coat, and black pants. And they said he may be in a 2008 Kia. So they're looking for the man now for shooting at these kids that worked at this Church's Chicken. I feel bad for these kids. I really do. I'm not even just saying that. Police say the customer had been in the fast food restaurant for 25 minutes and got angry because the employees started cleaning the tables near him. I've seen that before. My dad gets a little bit funny about that. They spray those chemicals around him. It's like, it's not going to hurt you. Trust me. The stuff they use is watered down. Just trust. I know. I use the same kind of chemicals when I'm cleaning at my job, and those chemicals are literally extremely watered down. They're not going to hurt anybody. If they did, they'd make sure not to have them doing that kind of stuff. So, but this guy had taken it too far, this older black man, and he shoots these two employees, these two guys working in there. By the way, I was going to go last night, and I found out too late, so I would have missed my friend Matt if that would have happened. Unfortunately, there's a play playing that was playing yesterday. It was a one-time deal called Always Patsy Cline. That's the name of the play. It was playing up in Lancaster, right around my friend Todd. He said it was right down the street from where he works. Now, why would I want to go see a play I've never even heard of? Well, the reason I wanted to see it was really cheap, too. It was like $38 a ticket. Was because it was only one day. Because I really wouldn't mind seeing was Cindy Williams, who played on Laverne and Shirley, was actually one of the people in the play. Now, I kind of got used to going to live plays. Even if they were kind of goofy plays, I still love going to them. And when I saw that one, even though he did a really bad job of acting, which was Misery with, I should know this by now, the guy from, I'm drawing a blank. It doesn't take much. Put it in now. I'm putting Misery on Broadway, even though I spelled it completely wrong. Oh, yeah, Bruce Willis. Yo. And I love that. I enjoyed watching that play on Broadway. I would like to see it again almost. It's really short, though. It says only an hour and a half. It's no longer playing anymore. I think they're done doing the show. So the thing was, a lot of these plays start in Pennsylvania. Now, originally when they did Misery, it was actually in in New Hope, and it had different actors. Laura Metcalf played the main character, and then obviously Bruce Willis played the guy who was being tortured. Now, Laura did an incredible job. She did a really good job. I would love to meet her after the play. She did an incredible job. What do you call it? He did not that great of a job. He was actually pretty bad. I just forgot his name already, even after I just looked it up and mentioned it twice. But it was a great play. It was a really, really good play. Bruce Willis. And he's changed so much. I mean, he's an icon. No matter how you look at it, Bruce Willis has been on every type of show and movie for years. He's always been like somebody everybody can relate to in many different ways. So I loved it. I love that play. But here I could have seen Cindy Williams, and I'm just going to let it go at this. And I screwed up, because, well, actually I didn't screw up. It was because my thing was shut down for a day, my Facebook. So I used my friend Matt was over at the house, so I really couldn't do a show. It got too late. Not that it was late, but it was too late for me to start a show. I tried to do them earlier. So that was another reason. But it was like, yeah, I was ready to like, hey, maybe I can do this. I'll run up because it's like 45 minutes technically to Lancaster from my house. And I was like ready to get in the car, drive up there, but I would have gotten there like 15, 20 minutes too late. The play would have started, not Misery, but this other one I said was Cindy Williams. And it was like, this would have been really cool to see. It's only like $38. I can afford that. I'll pay that. But it got like too late. It was like, you know what? If I get there, I'll be late. I'll be miserable because I'll miss the beginning of the play. It's not the same. I would have loved to see Cindy Williams. Now, she put on a lot of weight, too. That's the only unfortunate thing. But it's Cindy Williams, though, dude. I mean, people, when I was a kid, I would be getting off on. I thought she was really. She was another one. I thought she was really hot when she was really young. Back. You're talking like the 70s, though. She's now almost, I don't even want to think about it. She's up there in age, though. So, I mean, she's not a spring chicken. I know we're all going to reach that age someday. You can't stop time. You can't stop aging. It's just a fact of life. But it was Cindy Williams, though. That's the thing. I can't get that specified enough. So, anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed my show. I hope you enjoyed that 6-7 minute segment in the beginning. I think it's pretty cool. I kind of, puzzled it together myself, so I hope I did an okay job for everybody to comprehend. And thanks again. I hope you enjoyed my show. I am actually signing off for now, right before 9 o'clock. Thanks again. And have a good night.